In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. If we let it, the prologue to St. John's Gospel exposes the weirdness, the otherworldliness of the Incarnation. It pulls us from the familiar and makes us wrestle with the gravity of an event that came with a fear not disclaimer. St. John does away with the familiar story. The shepherds, the manger, the star, the angels are nowhere to be seen. In their place is a winding poem that begins before creation itself, a poem that twists and turns, that swirls around the mystery of the Incarnation. It gets close to the truth before backing away, and then makes an approach from another angle. Through its circuitous path, it allows us to begin to grasp the incomprehensible gift of God made flesh. That claim, "and the Word became flesh and lived among us," is the theological beating heart of John's prologue. Indeed, of John's entire gospel. The remainder of that gospel, all of the signs, the discourses, the passion, everything else, all of it is in some way working out the implications of that compact assertion. It's a claim that is as profound as it is short. Volume upon volume and upon volume have been written about it. The small collection of that number of volumes that I have takes up an entire shelf on my bookshelf in my office. Lifetimes have been spent in prayer and meditation on it. The Word became flesh and lived among us, or dwelt among us, if you prefer the King James Version. Eugene Peterson's message has the word moving into the neighborhood. But if you want to translate it literally and turn a noun into a verb, the word tabernacled among us. It's language that harkens back to the Israelites' time in the wilderness in the book of Exodus. God's presence took up residence in the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, which was placed in the center of the encampment and was packed up and transported each time they moved. Instead of being distant and removed, God wandered with God's people in the wilderness. God showed up, set up a tent in our front yard, and decided to stick around for a little while. This image reminds us that God incarnate has not confined himself to one place. Jesus didn't pick a mountain or a plain to stand on and expect everyone to come to him. No, my friends, the Word made flesh is mobile. He goes to wherever we are and takes up residence there. Like God residing in the tabernacle in Exodus, God packs up and goes with God's people, goes and comes with us. God made human has not come to earth and planted himself firmly in one place, never to move. God incarnate is truly God with us. The Word made flesh stays with us, follows us, pursues us wherever we go. And while following us, God shines a light which cannot be overcome into every gloomy corner of our lives. The light that Christ has brought into the world is the radiance of the glory of God, the unfiltered light of God's grace and truth. It is for this reason that God has become human, to show us God's grace, love, and mercy. God has come into the world to reach out to those who are shrouded in deep gloom, to stand beside those who are in pain or trouble, and to illumine them with the light of God's love. God confronts the sin of the world with that same radiant light. casting it into stark relief with God's truth and responding with an outpouring of mercy and grace. By his incarnation, Christ brings his grace and love to all people in all places. We have a God who loves us so deeply as to become one of us, to suffer with us, to be with us as we travel our own roads, to set up a tent in our yard, and to stick around for a bit. And to do all of this, not to condemn, not to judge, but to show forth light, to show forth grace, to show us the meaning of truth. And the Word became flesh and lived among us, and we have seen his glory.